Hello, welcome back to another 10 Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me on this video journey as I explore the world of fountain pens. So you may ask, you've been doing a lot of videos lately, and I'll say yes, because here is what it's like outside today in wonderful New Jersey. We're having an ice storm, and the storm has been going on for 12 hours now, and it's continuing to go on. It may look nice, but it's certainly not pleasant to be out in, and it's certainly not something that I'm going to be driving on. So I'll be indoors enjoying my pens. I've mentioned a few times I really appreciate the comments I get from my viewers, and this was a pen that one of my viewers said, you should take a look at this. So I found it on eBay. The price was right. Here's the eBay auction that I bid on. So now the pen is in my possession. I think this is a very commercial box, retail box, something that would look good in a high-end department store. You may have noticed the price on the side here. 98 won corresponds to about 14 US dollars. So that's about a little bit less than the price I paid for it, which is nice. You can also buy this pen without the box if you want to just have the plain pen, and you can save a few dollars. Here's that auction without the box. What attracted me to this pen was the look. So this is just your classic cardboard sleeve that folds off. Put that aside. It's a friction fit lid, nice sturdy cardboard, and we see a black pen. And we're very clear on this. This is a completely black pen. The other thing that strikes you is it's relatively small, smaller than I expected. Has decent weight to it, feels substantial. This pen also comes in some versions with different colored bands here. Here's a look at those different colors. So if you don't like the all black one, you can get that. It's a pull-off cap. Doesn't require much pressure. It feels a little bit light. And we see a very black nib. And we also see it's a Fude nib. So this is another reason why I got this pen. I don't have any black Fude nibs, so now I have one. So this pen has a lot of branding on it. You have Picasso on the section. You have a Picasso face and that very stylized version of Picasso on the nib. And you also have that stylized face here underneath the clip. Beneath the clip. There's nothing else on the pen. The clip is very sturdy. Very sturdy. It's a formed brass clip, and as we look a little bit more into some of the stuff I got with the pen, we'll see some descriptions of that. But it is a really black pen, and I think it's fun to just have a completely black, stealthy pen like this. In keeping with the retail packaging, you have a little ribbon here to pull up, and you lift it up, and this is, again, a substantial tray that pen fits very securely in. You have some paperwork. You have a bookmark. And on the bookmark is Malaga. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. Some Chinese there, and it looks like a little bit of a tower and maybe a cathedral, whatever. This is the town in Spain that was the birthplace of Picasso, so that's why that's included. You have here a little certificate of quality, which is interesting, and some more logo and stylized name. And then you have what is particularly common in a pen like this. Most of the time it costs significantly more than this. You have a nice booklet. The booklet's in multiple languages. Not seeking but searching. It's an interesting phrase. May or may not be that real translation. And then this booklet is both in Chinese and English, which I found very interesting. It's quality feel. Yes, there's a lot of pages. And here's a pretty good description of everything about the pen. Pen, tongue, and ink absorber. I assume that's the nib and the converter. The barrel, and there they talk about the pen clip. I mean, that's really phosphorus bronze, which is a fairly strong form of bronze. With added phosphorus, it gives it a lot more strength. Obviously, if they're gold plated, then they're also has some type of black coating on it. You know, they talk about filling. You know, there's using the converter. Really detailed. And I think this was interesting where they talk about showing the nib. The one here in the top appears to be kind of like a stub italic nib, which shows it doesn't work when you use it at an angle, whereas a normal rounded nib will work at an angle. I've never seen that before in any other pen. You know, they talk about using an ink cartridge. And the other thing that's very nice is a lot of the Chinese pens are very clear on cleaning and recommending you clean regularly. It also looks like it comes in a rollerball version. So it's an interesting booklet and a ballpoint. And again, more things on maintenance, just keeping the pen looking good. So it's an impressive gift package. I'm certain if you gifted this to an associate or somebody that enjoys pens, they would be very happy and very pleased and very impressed. So to put this pen in perspective, it is slightly smaller than a Pilot Metropolitan, you know, and also slightly smaller than a 78G. Here's a Monteverdi Stealth pen in Vicia, I think it was, in a mock carbon fiber finish. I don't think it's real carbon fiber, but it doesn't matter. So let's take a look at the business end. Here they are posted, and obviously the Monteverdi is much larger by a significant amount in both girth and length. But the other three pens are very similar posted. As we zoom in more closely on the section and nib, you know, these are all similar to number 5 size nibs. The sections are all pretty slim from my perspective, but one of the reasons why the Monteverdi never became a popular pen with me is this section's very, very small relative to the size of the pen. And then you got that big number 6 nib on it. It's a nice stub, black stub, my only black stub nib. But I never fell in love with it. You know, the weight and the balance wasn't quite what I expected. I like the look, but ergonomics just didn't cut it with me. Along with the 78G, the Metropolitan came close. I used it as a daily writer for a while, but it didn't hold up over time, at least from my enjoying writing with it. So let's see how the Picasso, my first Picasso, 916, with that nice little bent Fude nib, lays down some ink. It's a standard cartridge converter fill pen. The converter has that nice stylized Picasso signature on it. And this is an upscale converter in my view, with that nice metal ring there and a nice soft silicone insert there that really securely seats onto the section. That's good. The pen caps and post pretty well, and we'll see there a plastic liner inside the cap, and there looks like there might be a screw at the bottom to hold the finial and the clip in place. So it's a pretty nice design, and with a metal pen like this with a finish on it, that plastic liner is good to keep any marks off the barrel when you post it. This is the ink I chose. Again, sometimes I just say this is the ink I want to put in a pen. Here's a color card. It's just kind of an interesting purple. I like that. And an interesting chromatography. Nice intense blue with some, I guess, really dark green. It's kind of hard to judge what that color actually is, and there seems to be some sheen to that ink in that blog I put down to the right. So now for that real test, how does this pen write? As I mentioned, it's on the small side from my perspective of a pen. It just doesn't feel weighted well or balanced well. Cap pops off and it fits fine lengthwise in the hand unposted. It does post fairly well. It does change the balance, but not in a bad way. It makes it kind of more centered in the crook of the hand. We'll give you the weights of the pen. We'll give you the size of that section because, like I said, that's really too small of a section for me to be comfortable with for any long length of writing. But let's see how that black Fude nib works. So overall, this writes pretty much like every Fude nib I've ever used. It's very smooth. Lays down a pretty nice wet line. About as wet as you'd want. And it's very sensitive to angle. As you saw when I did the Picasso, I was at a low angle. And I really like this ink color in this pen. Good combo. But it glides across the paper. And that's one of the nice things about a nib of this design. You know, Pen BBS does a slight upturn and they provides a nice smooth writing experience. And the other thing that's nice about many of these is in reverse it writes extra fine. And it's definitely usable if you want a line that's that fine. So overall, let's rate this pen. I'm going to give it an 8.3. Let's look at the details. So let's go down the checklist. Design, I'm just going to give it 1 check. Engineering is 2 checks. Build is 2 checks. Writing is 3 checks. And I like Fude nibs. If you don't like Fude nibs, then the writing experience for you may not be as nice. The look is 3 checks, and the value is, we'll give it 3. So, to me, this design is just not good for long writing and just doesn't feel good in the hand to me. Engineering wise, I could probably maybe give it 2.5 checks, and build I could also do that. There's nothing wrong with it in any particular nature. I mean, it is a really beautiful black pen if that's what you like. And if you like a small black pen, you can get it with a different nib. You don't need to get the Fude. You can get just a 0.5 nib. So that's how we came up with our ranking. I always like to give a shout out to my other pen reviewers. So Wasky Squirrel reviewed this pen a year ago, and he reviewed it where he had the pen for a while before he reviewed it. He had the black, more the shiny black with the silver trim on it. So it was basically the same pen, but just different aesthetics and different materials. And I think he came to a similar conclusion I did. It's a nice nib. It writes well, but it just doesn't float my boat. It doesn't excite me that much. I'll run out this converter and then probably clean it and put it away as part of my black pen collection. So we've reached the end of this, so thank you for watching. The other thing you know is it started up right away, so if that's something that's important to you, this nib certainly does that well. I tried a little bit of pulling the nib out and it just didn't come out easily, so there's no reason for me to force it, and this is a nib I'd keep in this pen anyway, so that's how it goes for that. So hopefully you enjoy your writing experiences and find some instruments that give you pleasure in putting ink on paper. So this is the end of this video. We're going to say bye until the next video. And that can certainly lay down a broad, wet line.